Welcome back, YouTubers. I am Jason Worsma, and this is the best damn fantasy football channel on YouTube. This is Tankers Fantasy Football, and I did not get a waiver wire video out this week because we went up to Buffalo for the Bears-Bills game, and I have just absolutely lost my voice, boys. I just had to take a day off to recuperate. As you can see, my voice is still a little bit fucked up out there. Before we get going, I'd like to share a couple pictures I took with the head of the Bills Mafia. Let's go look at this. We got some Pinto Ron here, and we got some other boys. Let me give you guys a look at these photos. There's me and Pinto Kenny out there grinding. And here's me and my boy hanging out with one of the disciples of the Pinto. And this is our glorious seats at the game. All right, man. Buffalo was such a great time. Even though we pushed their shit in 41-9, the Bills fans couldn't have been more courteous. So without further ado, we are going to get into some buy low, sell highs. I'm going to do a little bit different this week. I'm kind of going to go with a rising player and like a falling off a shelf type of players. And then we're going to decide whether we want to trade for or sell these types of dudes. But we know before we do any of those things, we just got to kick that intro.
The milkman, the paperboy, the evening TV. Everywhere you look, there's a heart.
All right, back up in that ass, and we are just in time. We are gonna get it sexy, and we're gonna get right into some Tankers Week 10 players on the rise. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is on the list for players on the rise. You're looking at it. He's got 4 straight games for the Packers with a touchdown or 100 yards in 4 straight games. Geronimo Allison is headed to IR. St. Brown just doesn't seem like the type of talent as Scantling is. Scantling is a 6'4" guy with some speed out there. So, I mean, that could easily be the number 2 target in an Aaron Rodgers offense. And if that is the case, I think we are looking at wide receiver 3 action for the rest of the season with a little bit of upside out there. Getting some Tyler Boyd with AJ Green looking to miss at least the next 2 weeks. Looking at Tyler Boyd, he's got 7 targets or more in every game but 1 since his week 2 breakout game in Baltimore on that Thursday night. I mean, that's getting him fucking done. He's got 9 or more in 4 of those contests as well, and he is on pace for, get this, and astonishing. He is on pace. My cat is running wild around here. But Tyler Boyd is on pace for 98 receptions, for 1,240 yards, and 10 touchdowns. And I know people are saying that the defense are probably going to try to cover Boyd more now that AJ Green is gone, but I mean, I don't know. I think they might just try to stop Joe Mixon more, kind of put those safeties more down in the box, not necessarily shade all that coverage toward Boyd. So I think Boyd is going to be sexy deluxe. His target's got nowhere to go but up. I mean, these are great target numbers as it is, but I don't see how his numbers can go down with AJ Green out. So I think Tyler Boyd is a solid hold or a buy, even if you can somehow get your little precious hands on him for the rest of the season. I mean, you know, Tyler Boyd's, 6'2". He's still only 23 years old. I know what you're saying. 23 years old for only like 8 more days out there. Weird, but still, he is still 23 years old. Another guy we got on the rise is Josh Gordon. He has 32 targets in the last 4 games. That's including his 10 targets this last week. He's got 18 yards per catch. Titans are 25th in points allowed to wide receivers. Then he's got the Jets, who are 23rd in points allowed to wide receivers as the next in his next 2 competitions. So I'm thinking if Gronk continues to ail, Gordon continues to get more known in this offense, I think Josh Gordon is a solid buy, but it might be hard to pull him from the cold dead hands of his owners that have been waiting all these years for him to get his sexy baby. But I think Josh Gordon is a solid buy / hold moving forward. Amari Cooper went 5 for 8, 58 yards and a touchdown. If somebody in your leagues got a hard on over Amari Cooper, yeah, they're probably going to force him the ball a little bit more than was happening out in Oakland, but I'm still not necessarily a Amari Cooper believer. So if you got a guy that's looking to give you wide receiver 2 return for Amari Cooper, I think I would look into making that move. We got a running back here that has been just, getting it done lately for the Tennessee Titans. We're talking about Dion Lewis. He's got 19 touches in that week 7 going into the bye, and then coming out of the bye in week 9 he had 23 touches, and he's got a combined 277 yards in those 2 games, people. Dion Lewis has a combined 277 yards in those 2 games. That's rushing and receiving combined. I think Dion Lewis is a solid buy moving forward. I think he's a solid RB2 moving forward. I know Derrick Henry's gotten his ass in the end zone these last couple of weeks, but his carries and snaps have been going down as well. So I think this is an all-in Dion Lewis situation. Yes, Derrick Henry will probably vulture some of those short yardage touchdowns if they were the Titans getting close for those short yarders, but I think Dion Lewis is a solid RB2 moving forward. Mike Davis, Chris Carson went down. He went out there and got 22 touches, including 7 receptions for 107 all-purpose yards. I don't think Mike Davis is anything special, but if Chris Carson does miss time, I think Mike Davis could easily be a back-end to middle range RB2 for you. I think I'd be looking to buy Mike Davis if I was the Chris Carson owner off waivers or from somebody else for a reasonable price. If you do not know how, if this hip situation is going to linger for Chris Carson. Tevin Coleman, I think this is a guy that's kind of a nice sell high, talking about players on the rise here. Tevin Coleman on the rise. This is his first game over 13 touches since week 4. Also his first game over 2 receptions since week 4 as well. I don't know. I think this is just one of those type of those home run hitting. He got it sexy for you, but I think he's just going to return to the median, to the norm next week, back into that 10, 11, 12, 13 point range, back in that back end RB2 conversation. I don't think Tevin Coleman's the type of guy that's going to all of a sudden turn around, get it completely sexy for you, and end up being back in RB1. I think Ito Smith's going to be getting those goal line carries as well. So you can go out there and sell Tevin Coleman for a high price. I would probably get excited about that. Another guy kind of on the rise, first game back in full action. Elijah McGuire played predominantly more snaps than Crowell in this game. Kind of slid right into the Will Powell role. I think if you are in dire need of a flex player in RB3, maybe back in RB2, if you can get it going a little bit more out there, I think Elijah McGuire is a guy to look for off of waivers if he is still available, or maybe try to waggle him into an add-on guy in a trade. Maurice Harris for the Redskins, kind of a guy kind of came out of nowhere. He had 17 targets on the season coming into the game. He had 12 in week 9 out there for the Redskins versus the Falcons on Sunday. I don't know. I think this is a kind of a guy, kind of a Kevin Ogletree situation, guy just kind of pops up on the radar, comes out of fucking nowhere, gets it done, gets it sexy for you. Someone spends a lot of fab on him, then he never really returns the favor. So I don't know. I think I might lean away from avoiding this guy. But think about it. Maybe you get him. Maybe see if he can hit it again, because he does play Tampa Bay this coming week out there, giving up the second most points and the second most touchdowns to opposing wide receivers. So I think if you do get him for cheap off the waiver wire and you have some bye weeks coming in, I guess he is worth a dart throw flex option because of this sexy deluxe matchup. But I don't know. I wouldn't be throwing like 15-20% off this guy or anything crazy like that. But Cortland Sutton, the guy kind of came out there. Everybody was high on him because of the Marius Thomas trade. Went out there, got like 8-point-something PPR points on Sunday. Nothing really sexy, but I think he is a strong hold. He is a strong buy. I think he will come to form eventually and return solid flex play options for you. So I think this guy, Cortland Sutton, is a strong buy moving forward. All right, we got
players who have just fallen off the shelf.
All right, we got lead it off with them players that have just fallen off the shelf. We got some downtown John Brown. Now, I love you, downtown John Brown, but if you look at it, I mean, he's only got double-digit PPR points in 4 of the last 5 games, does downtown John Brown. In 3 of his last 5 games as well, in 3 of those last 5 games, he has 28 yards or less. Oh, my goodness, with a 50% catch rate. I don't know, John Brown. I think your swan song might be over, but I think I'm going to have to relegate your ass back to my bench. So I don't know. I think he's a hold. I think he might be like a bye week guy, but I don't think he's anybody you can really look to depend on. I know I love the downtown John Brown, but like I said, 4 of the last 5 weeks in single digit full point PPR, and that is just not getting it sexy for you whatsoever. And again, on the downside, we got some Robert Gronkowski. Can't get it healthy against the Bills. He looked like he had aged overnight. I don't know what to think about this. I think if you can get him pennies on the dollar, I would definitely look into doing that. Like the guy in one of my leagues has Rob Gronkowski. He also drafted O.J. Howard, so he's doing fine. So you can probably go out there and, you know, get him to trade you some Rob Gronkowski for relatively cheap, since he's got O.J. Howard, who's probably going to be his starter week in and week out, barring Rob Gronkowski coming back out there and getting it sexy. Because even if Rob Gronkowski does come out there and play, I don't think he can start Rob over O.J. at this point until Rob shows you and proves you otherwise. All right, we got some A.J. Green. Maybe if you're a believer that he's going to come back in 2 weeks to form, I would buy, but I don't know. You know, I'm just not that big a believer that A.J. Green is going to come back and get it sexy. I think this might be a lingering, this might be a re-aggravation situation. This might jeopardize his entire season. I have him in a league. I am really worried about it because I do not have Tyler Boyd out there, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I think if you are a believer and the owner is freaking out, you give her pennies on the dollar, I guess I would look into buying. But other than that, just not sure. We got another guy who's fallen off the shelf that I would kind of look to buy for maybe pennies on the dollar if you could, but the owners have just got to be in complete panic mode. Talk about Mark Ingram. Since he's come out, that week 5, his coming out party, got like 21 PPR points for you. Got it sexy. Everybody, all the Alvin Kamara owners, you know, they're chicken littles out there talking about the fucking sky is falling or whatever the fuck. But since then, you know, the guy's only averaged 7 PPR points a game in his last 3 games. And I mean, you know, he's still averaging over 13 touches a game. So it's not like, you know, the opportunity isn't necessarily there. I think it is. I think you can give her pennies on the dollar. I think he's worth it. But I don't necessarily think he is a penciled in start at the moment as an RB2. I think he was more of an RB3 right now. All right, you like the cut of my jib? Give me a subscribe, give me a share, get the comments going down below. The comments really help YouTube push my videos, as long as mashing the piss out of that like button. So please do both of those things to help the Tankers revolution begin, people. And I will be back at you later this week with some start-sit matchups moving forward, and maybe we can drag Travis's ass in here to give me a little help, baby. Let's see if we can. Cheeseburger.